I'll be looking at the nonfiction work called Diary, written by Rebecca Solnit. This article analyzes the tech industry in San Francisco and the negative effects of the tech industry. So a good analogy is that it treats the tech industry as an invading species on the native land of San Francisco, driving out the native population and changing and eroding the original culture. So it does so in here, highlighting in sentence in green. It says that the San Francisco is now a boom town. The population is changing extremely quickly, and the housing costs are extremely high. And this drives out the original culture of San Francisco. So what was the original culture? Well, she says that she believes the original culture is a refuge for dissidents, queers, pacifists, and environmentalists. The tech industry is changing this. So Rebecca's article seems to be more applicable now than ever when she wrote this back in 2013, as we can see the current wage in San Francisco way above the national average. To get a good context of when Rebecca was writing this article, I was looking at the news articles that were published during the time of this writing. As you can see, the top article here talks about Silicon Valley reaching .com boom levels. And then here, another article saying that Silicon Valley ranks second in wealth concentration. So again, there are a lot of speculations into Silicon Valley being another bubble. So this is the context in which Rebecca was writing this article. So this work is obviously tainted by Rebecca Solnit's interpretive lens. Rebecca Solnit is an extremely left-wing writer, so she writes about activism, feminism, environmentalism, and about Trump. And based off these writings, her views are very liberal and left-wing. Some biases that she has that is apparent through this article. There's three that I'll identify. First is that the tech companies are extremely oppressive and evil. So here she says that the companies are overlords landed to rule over us. She later says that they're non-petroleum company most bent on world domination. And since these are arguable facts presented through her interpretive lens, these are biases. A second bias is when she tries to paint the tech workers as mindless drones, like when she uses the word coal miners and to compare them who are deposited, and when she says that they're minions, and when she says that they're bees, part of a beehive. All these words have connotations that imply a mindless following. And lastly, she treats the tech industry as extremely foreign to San Francisco. So here she says that the companies are alien, and she says that the tech workers are German tourists. So she tries to convey this meaning that they're almost like an invading species. They're from the outside. And I am tainted with biases as well when I'm reading this article. For example, I'm a tech-oriented kind of person, and I actually aspire to work at a lot of these companies that she is describing. So when she says that Silicon Valley is sucking in the young, obviously I would disagree with that. I say that it's attracting or inspiring because sucking has a negative connotation with it. Further, when she describes the job perks that the tech workers get, such as nap rooms, chefs, gyms, and laundry, she says that this makes the work less hideous, implying that the work was already hideous and that it's lessening the degree of the hideousness. Whereas for me, I'd say that it would make the work more enjoyable, implying that it is already enjoyable, but it's heightening the level of enjoyment. Also, another interpretive lens that I have is that I'm extremely young and that I've lived in many places, so I don't affiliate myself so much with a geographical location. So for her, she takes pride in living in the city for an extremely long time. She says that it gives her confidence and comfort. For me, I don't relate to this as well because I'm extremely global and I don't really see myself affiliated with a geographical location. So some research I did that actually brought up some contradictions to Rebecca's point is that she actually was born in Connecticut and grew up in Novato, California. She only moved to San Francisco in university. So this is extremely interesting because she seems to imply that she was born and raised in the city when in reality she was an immigrant, much like a lot of the tech workers that she just is describing. Further, she talks about the poverty rate in San Francisco, but in reality, the 10.1% poverty rate is less than the 14% poverty rate in the entirety of the United States. So it's actually pretty good compared to the entire country. One point of research that actually supported her point was that she said that the eviction laws are often abused by landowners. And under the LS Eviction Act, it says that tenants who fight evictions often win, which means that landowners often abuse this act, and then when put to trial, the court deem it an abuse. So this actually goes to support Rebecca's point. Rebecca also takes many artistic liberties in her writing. For example, she describes the buses pulling up with a lot of detail and a lot of imagery, and what this does is that it makes the reader seem like they are there in the present, looking at the buses in first person. This makes the reader more engaged and more empathetic with what she's saying. But this also can lead to some dishonest reporting. So, for example, when she talks about a bus of Apple employees that missed their stop, she says that it is because they're withdrawn from intermediary communications, when in reality it could be simply because the Apple drivers were too engaged in their work to have noticed that they missed their stop. So that could be considered dishonest because she's added in detail that wasn't there before. Another place where she took artistic liberties can be found in here, where she describes walking into a house and she describes the objects that were in the house in a lot of detail, especially here when it says furniture grimed with the years. So extreme vivid detail to make the reader more engaged and more feel like they're in the scene with her.